Okay, so today we're going to talk about dodging and burning in Photoshop, and we're going to talk about the differences between doing this here and doing it in the darkroom. So first thing I did was I opened up a picture. As with any time that we're working in Photoshop, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to go to your layers window and make a copy of your background. If for some reason your layers window is not open, you go up to window and look down for layers right here. Okay, a check mark means that it is open at this point in time. So we made a background copy. This is going to enable us to keep the original. This background copy, we're then going to turn around and we're going to turn it into a grayscale so that we can look at it in the same view as when we were in the darkroom. So we're going to go to Mode, and I go to Grayscale. And we're not going to flatten the image. And we are going to discard the color information. So it did discard the color information in the background. So when we resave this, we want to make sure we do not save it with the same name. Now, when you look at this, it was a really pretty color picture, right? But the black and white's not so much. And the reason is because we're not seeing a lot of blacks, we're not seeing a lot of whites, we're seeing a lot of grays. So we want to change the levels on that. And the way we're going to do that is over here in the Adjustments window. Again, Adjustments, if you don't see it, come up here, click on Adjustments, check it off, and there it'll be. In here, we're going to hover, and we're going to find Levels. And in the Levels, we're going to click on it. It's going to ask us to create a level. Now, the way the levels work is that we have a black slider bar, a gray slider bar, and a white slider bar. When we slide the white slider bar over, we get more whites. When we slide the black slider bar over, we get more blacks. And when we slide the gray slider bar over, we can change the middle tones of these colors. So I'm going to get this just about to there. I like that. I'm happy with that. And now I'm going to do some dodging and burning. What I want to do is I want to make this flower a little lighter and this flower, actually I want to make this flower a little darker and this flower a little lighter. But they're kind of small in this picture, so I'm going to click on my magnifying tool and I'm going to click and drag over just those two colors. It's going to help me to get a little closer. Now, as you notice, our levels are the blue layer that is over here in the levels bar, in the layers bar. What that means is that that area is activated. We don't want to activate that. We want to activate the background copy. And the reason we want to do that is because that's where we want to make the actual edits. So, on to dodging and burn. In here, in our toolbar box, we have this little hand. And if you hover over it, it shows that it's the burn tool. Underneath the burn tool, there's also a dodge tool. And by clicking on that, now I'm able to dodge my pictures. What does dodge mean again? Remember when we were in the darkroom, we covered something up for a little bit of time, and that helped to make that lighter. So we're going to make it lighter. And when we're ready to make it lighter, we want to look at the size of our brush. This brush is going to lighten anything that it touches. If you notice up here, we have all kinds of different adjustments that we can do. And one of them is the size of the brush and the hardness of the brush. In this practice, we want to make the brush very soft. So we're looking for the hardness to be at 0. We want to make the size of it something that's going to not color the whole background as it's coloring this. Once we get our size to where we're happy with it, and then come in, and very lightly, lighten up the picture. We want a little bit more here, lighten certain areas, and just give that one a little bit of an accent. Now, I want to come in and I want to make some parts darker. So I'm going to come in with the burn tool. Again, check the size of my button. This has a dark edge on it, and when it has that, that means that it's going to give you a really clear line, just like that. Don't like that, so I'm going to hit Control Z because I don't want it to be that clear. And I want to come back in here and I'm going to change my hardness to as soft as it possibly can, so it's a little subtle. In this particular tulip, And then I want to come into my shadows and make them a little bit darker. And again, ooh, way too much. It's a little bit too high. So I could either do Control Z, which will let me step back once, or I can come over to my history window and I can step back as many times as I want. Okay, so I'm coming back to there. I want to go back to the burn tool. I want to make my burn tool a little bit bigger, but I want to make my exposure a little lower. And that's going to allow me to just be very subtle about making this part darker. And that helps to just define this area a little bit more. So good. The last thing I said that I wanted to do is I want to make this tulip darker. And I'm going to do that just by clicking over the areas that I want to have darker. Now, I could spend a whole day doing this because when I hit Control 0, which zooms me all the way out, it shows me how just by doing those couple little things I've affected this picture. When we close the eye on the layers that we have open, they'll show us what the original picture looked like. Here's the levels, and then here's my dodge and burn. And you can play around with this as much as you like and make certain areas of your picture lighter, certain areas of your picture darker by using this tool. So I hope you enjoy it. I want you to play with it now. Thanks.